but I cry because your love has passed me by. You took me by surprise. I didn't realize that you were laughing.
Hello, welcome to L7 Squadcast. I'm Jordan Utley.
And I'm Joseph Garcia.
We're welcomed here with our guest, Andres Zarate.
Hello, my name is Andres Zarate, amateur writer and film buff, just like these guys.
Yeah, so we actually have something really important that we want to talk about today. Something that's been dropped and has been talked about all week, the Joker movie that's going to be coming out next year, starring Joaquin Phoenix, of all people. What are our thoughts on that?
I am excited as hell to see that happen. Joaquin is friggin' awesome. He can go from being a cold-blooded, backstabbing, greedy a-hole like in Gladiator, and then he can be a really sympathetic and just really sad character like in the movie Her.
I mean, every role he's picked, I can't think of one that really failed.
No.
He's been in Paul Thomas Anderson movies, as in The Master, in Signs, he was the best part of that movie.
And he played the awkward brother.
Yeah, and his first role, like you said, was Gladiator, and that was the best picture of 2000.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's an awesome movie to start off on.
Like, you know you're a great actor when you can't, like, you watch their performances, and then it's like, I can't really see this person in this person that you're playing right now. They just completely change.
How do you feel about Joaquin Phoenix being the role?
Personally, I like his weirdness. I like the fact that he is personally, on a very personal level, he's a very strange person, but I think that plays to a lot of his advantages, because with a lot of the roles you've mentioned, it takes a level of kind of little bit of strangeness in order to really get into those roles. Really put your feet in those shoes, basically.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like they're trying to minimalize the story of the Joker. Considering we don't really know the origin, there really isn't a real origin.
There are always different takes on the Joker.
There's so many takes, and that's what made The Dark Knight so good, is he found different ways to tell that origin story. It seems like they're going to try to find like a streamlined, this is the point A of this character, and this is the point B of this character.
Yeah.
And I just love that it's much smaller than the bigger DC films are.
Whereas, like, you know, The Dark Knight, Heath Ledger's Joker was a Joker to be feared. You didn't get much of a backstory aside from him, like I said. Like, he had his...
He just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, and, like, Jim Gordon even said, like, we don't know who this guy is. Like, no alias or anything. Like, this guy is not in the system at all. And so he's just a big question mark the entire time. Yeah. For the record, I was not referencing Riddler, just like to clarify that. But, like, when you look at the approach they're doing for this one, they're giving him a background story, and they're showing the development of him to become the Joker. So, in a sense, it's like... they want the audience, I guess, to sympathize with them a little bit, probably.
Which, yeah, like a pitiful Joker. I don't think we've ever seen that before.
Kind of harken back to the whole Italian, like, Pagliacci kind of idea, the sad clown, if you will. You know, the traumatic clown.
And yeah, we're actually going to go back to that, because there is a clip that shows sort of like an old school vaudeville clown that we're going to watch and react to, because I don't think any of us have watched it yet. But we'll get to that later. Getting back to the film, it's being directed by Todd Phillips, who directed the Hangover trilogy, of all things, and Project X.
And Old School.
Yeah, and on Old School, I didn't know he directed Old School.
Yeah, he directed Old School.
You know, actually, I have a funny story about Todd Phillips. I actually got to meet him when they were doing a screening for Project X. It was like 3 months before the movie was released, so they were doing, like, you know, the test footage, test screening to see which demographic they want to show it to. I wrote down my notes and all that stuff, got to watch the movie, and he was just sort of hanging out outside the theater. And I just got to, you know, shake his hand for 5 minutes and talk to him. He seemed like he was kind of busy, so I didn't really want to bother him. But
wait, you shook his hand for 5 minutes straight?
I shook his hand for like 2 seconds, and I talked to him for 5 minutes. That would be creepy. I was just, nice to meet you, Mr. Phillips.
Just complete eye contact all the way.
But I love that he's the choice for director, because watching the Hangover movies, for me personally, it is a funny trilogy, but there's a lot of darkness to that trilogy, to that film, you know? So I think they're going to try to tackle that a lot in this.
Yeah, like, you know, in The Dark Knight, I'm going to keep referencing that, or even, like, you know, Batman.
Because that's really, like, the par that we're about to meet with this movie.
Yeah, like in Batman 1989.
We're not even going to regard Jared Leto.
Okay, we're not going to...
No. I'll agree to that same sentence.
He's going to be Morbius. I just like to clarify. He's going to be Morbius, so that's going to be cool.
Yeah.
But in terms of... we're just going to ignore the Joker part of that. But anyways, like, Jack Nicholson, Batman 1989. you know, with that one, he was a very like loud, vibrant, cartoony Joker. He wasn't exactly like the Joker to like full on be feared, but he was a Joker that was a menace.
Yeah.
But in this case, we don't know what kind of approach they're going to do with Joaquin Phoenix, with his
No
Joker.
idea.
We don't even know how he's going to, you know, portray the character yet.
All we really know is that he's a up and coming comedian that just doesn't have a stroke of luck.
Yeah.
You know.
Where-
Which we all can, I think, relate to.
Yeah.
In this day and age.
Yeah.
100%.
And whereas, like, you know, going back to the dark humor aspect, you know, in Nolan's version of the Joker, there was like humor, but like it was crazy humor where you laugh because this guy's just friggin' like going over the top.
He was chaotic, but there was a rhyme and reason for everything that he did.
Yeah.
Even if he couldn't articulate it, which I think in the clip that we've seen where he's in the subway, we've all seen the subway riot scene, right?
Yeah.
There seems to be a layer of control to this character that maybe in the film he hadn't seen up until that point.
Yeah.
So I think where they're going with it is just really interesting. I'm just really curious because it's taking place in the 80s.
Yeah.
It doesn't have Batman in it.
Mm-mm.
It just has Thomas Wayne. I think Alec Baldwin was supposed to play Thomas Wayne for a while, but he dropped out.
Yeah.
But I think let's go into like what we expect the movie's going to be. I think the plot is going to be this. I think he's going to be a stand-up comedian who just has no luck, has one bad day, sees Thomas Wayne, decides to want to kidnap him to get his final moment of glory, or when he becomes the Joker, that's going to be his first act. He's going to kidnap Thomas Wayne because he is the most powerful person in Gotham at this time. What do we think about that?
What I would like to see, and
Yeah.
what the path I wouldn't mind them taking, especially for the Joker, is kind of more of like his descent into madness almost.
Yes.
Like
What's
just
going to be the theme?
yeah, just slowly progress. And Joaquin Phoenix is known for very very personalized shots and very, you know, he can easily express what's going on in his mind very physically. So in that, seeing that with the Joker would be a very interesting take on kind of seeing his just slow descent into what really turned him into the Joker.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's gonna be the cool part. Like, we're gonna go in to the movie with him not even the Joker. It's just gonna be a guy.
I mean,
That's
this is
it.
a world where we know so much about. We know all the players. We know the villains and the
Yeah.
heroes. We know Batman's origin story, like, to a T. You
Yeah.
can tell it to, you ask a 5-year-old, they can tell you. We have no idea where the Joker begins.
No.
What's going to be the straw that breaks this camel's back?
What is it that makes a person go from being a simple man to being someone to be feared?
Yeah.
Much like Batman.
That's what makes that character, the Joker, so scary to me. It's a simple word, Joker. You could have named him the Clown Prince of Crime. That could have been his official title. That's just a colloquial term that we use for him.
Yeah.
The fact that he is literally the antithesis of this character, Batman, that's dark and stoic and terrifying. He's loud and bright and colorful, but he still has that thread of malice
Yeah.
throughout everything that he does, which is scary because you never know what he's going to do next. And I don't think even he knows what he's going to do
Mm-mm.
next, which brings me to the next point of like what he's going to do as the Joker. Like, who is he going to recruit? Who's he going to corrupt? Who's going to corrupt him? We don't know.
If there even is a corruption to begin with.
Exactly.
He
Maybe
could,
the city's already corrupt.
yeah, he could easily be kind of almost like edging on the anti-hero kind of quality in
Really?
in that
Anti-hero?
in that
so?
like he doesn't necessarily do good things for the sake of doing good things. He does it if he is forced to, almost like in that. And then after a certain point, I would think he would like kind of want to break from that. Because it's like, I'm tired of doing the right thing. I'm tired of always being forced to do the right thing, and I want to just do the thing. You know, it doesn't have to be right or wrong.
So like, it seems like he's going to be the only person that's really woke
Yeah.
in a city where it's
Yeah.
just sheep. That's
Exactly,
sleeping,
exactly.
you know?
And that, I mean, that would drive, I would say, in the 80s especially, that would drive
yeah.
any normal person just absolutely insane, because it's just like they realize things that the sheep around them don't, you know? So that whole like I'm telling you, I'm really excited to see how they're going to really delve into his sanity in all of this. So like how each layer just breaks slowly.
We only know we've only seen 2 clips online: the riot scene and the test footage where he just slowly progresses into the Joker, and then the final
full
shot,
makeup.
full makeup, smile and all, and a couple of pictures. I think that's enough for now.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I think
Yeah.
so. Like
The movie's not gonna come out for another year.
Yeah.
long time.
So all you have to do is just basically establish this is what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to be patient, but trust us, it'll be worth the wait.
Do you think they're gonna make more?
That's a good question. You see, with the way DC is going right now, is that like, okay, let's face it, in terms of the films, things are a very rocky trail right now.
To say
Agreed.
the least.
I mean, Henry Cavill is no longer Superman apparently
And Ben Affleck just dropped out.
as Batman. So now the question is, who are they going to get to replace those two characters? But DC is
if at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But right now, DC, they're trying, as far as I understand, they're trying to, establish, like, they're going with the worlds of DC now. So, in other words, there are comic book storylines that aren't even connected at all, but they're standalone stories. So, I think they're trying to go that route now, where what if we do standalone storylines?
That
and just leave it be?
eventually bleed into each other, or just
No,
by
just
themselves?
standalone.
I'm fine with that.
That would definitely be an interesting take, because like you said, there's a lot of unique stories to the DC to the DC universe in just the comic books alone. To expand in order to really delve into a lot of the different aspects of it, I think there should be less of a focus on like the Batmans and the Supermans and the Wonder Womans and just the big trio. Even Green Lantern could be considered up there with them. Focus on the lesser known heroes, the down and out
But
heroes.
the ones that the fans love.
But the ones the fans love, like one of my favorite heroes that I've never seen in modern media is Animal Man. Animal Man, he has the power. He has the powers to replicate almost any animal, much like Vixen in the same sense. But he can actually physically transform parts of his body into different animal abilities.
That's a pretty good power.
And his recent story in the New 52 storyline was just so brilliantly done. It created a multiverse of different layers, just different layers of the universe around just Animal Man. So even just focusing on singular characters, much like the Joker, much like Animal Man, or even just other examples, you can get kind of a more freedom with the backstory. More of a malleable backstory to make it more modern, more chewable for the current audience.
I think like what makes this one so intriguing to me as a film lover is they're pulling from The King of Comedy, which is a Martin Scorsese film from the 80s that even I've barely seen. And I'm a huge Martin Scorsese fan. But the plot of that is basically what I explained to you guys of what I expect from the film is a guy who wants to be a comedian kidnaps someone that's really rich. I think it's Jerry Lewis in the film. And he uses that as extortion to have like one moment in the light. And I think that's what the Joker's going to try to do. I think they even like named some of the characters in the film based off of the characters from King of Comedy.
I know.
Scorsese originally was actually supposed to executive produce too. I don't know if he still is, but I think conflict of schedules didn't allow him to keep full focus on the film. But I think what would make this film so original is to take what we know about Batman, which is like he has a secret identity, and to twist it. Meaning, the only Wayne that we have in this film is Thomas Wayne.
Yeah.
His father. And I think they're going to try to portray him as like this really jerky, rude, mean-spirited person that just cares about money. Sort of like Donald Trump.
I was waiting for that.
I think Joker is going to know from the beginning who Bruce Wayne is. And I think like if they do later on Batman movies where they eventually introduce him, he's going to know who Bruce Wayne is. He's going to know like the legacy of the Wayne family. He's just not going to care. He's going to have the ability to exploit his alter ego at any time, Batman's alter ego. But he's just not going to choose. He's going to choose not to because he's completely chaotic and crazy.
Yeah.
And what kind of level of crazy would that be if not for the Joker?
Well, from what I can gather, what I've gathered in most of my research of the Joker, he's actually more fascinated with Batman than he is with Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Because Batman, for whatever reason, no matter how meticulous or even how chaotic the Joker's plans have ended up being, Batman is always there as the X factor, is always disrupting those rhythms that he has, and he just can't figure out why.
Yeah,
because
and we can't.
it's either through sheer determination or just through just through focused will that Batman is able to do this. And so the Joker's obsessed with that because he's wondering why is it that
I can't kill you. You're just too much fun.
and why is it that everything I do with everyone else works out, but with this particular person doesn't? You know, what is it that
can't break Batman?
You know,
and he wants to.
You know, in Arkham City, it's funny because like the way that it ends, they kind of like establish that in a weird way, Joker was telling Batman like, "You're my best friend." It's like that. It's like you need me.
the symbolism being when Batman walking out with for those of you who haven't seen the game, spoiler alert, as you're walking out as Batman, you're carrying Joker much like an image earlier on in the game of Cain and Abel, the battled brothers from biblical history.
Man, mind blown.
Yeah.
I didn't even connect that.
Yeah, I've played that game a lot, so I've a lot of that, and plus I have religious stuff in my background. But anyway, yeah, you know, that scene is very reminiscent of the idea of Cain and Abel, brothers born of the same cloth, but forced to duke it out in the end.
And like even in the Gotham, like because they introduced spoilers for Gotham as well, they introduced like what people thought was going to be the Joker. Turns out it wasn't the Joker, and then they made a different character become the actual Joker.
Oh.
But one of the lines, I didn't get to see the episodes yet, I've been meaning to watch them, but one of the episodes that he tells Bruce Wayne is he says, "You're like the brother I never had." So it's kind of like they're hinting at like the whole, like that, it's a weird friendship. It's a really screwed up friendship.
It's like that relationship. They're codependent on one another. Batman would not be Batman without his Joker. Joker would not be the Joker without his Batman.
Yeah. Kind of like how Dr. Evil says in Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me. Dr. Evil, what are we going to do about Austin Powers? Oh, yes, Austin Powers, he's the snake to my mongoose. Or is it the mongoose to my snake? Either way, it's bad.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, there's a lot of religious ties, a lot of like current ties, and the one that like really connected with me. Remember all that viral clown stuff that was happening last year?
Yeah. When it came out.
I can't help but like call back to that when I saw the train sequence. Like, just the fact that there's this wave of anarchy that's about to hit Gotham City. And this dude, Arthur Fleck, is at the top of it. Yeah. And he's going to control. You see so many people running out of the trains with just clown masks on. That is terrifying, man.
Okay, so let's talk about his look.
Oh, yes. I didn't even get to the look. Yeah. I love it. This is the first Joker they've mentioned that actually has a red nose. No other incantation in comics, film, or television has had a red nose.
Huh. Well, with this, I think considering this is an origin story, the Joker, by the time he meets Batman, he already has his look.
Oh, he knows who he is.
He already has his look. Regardless of what medium you choose, he already has his look. When he always comes to blows with Batman, he always has his look. Well, with this, I think what they're doing is they're showing that his look that he eventually meets up with Batman was an evolution. It started out with what he saw. You know, in his as he was growing up, as the media he consumed was a clown. You know, and at the time there was the Bozos, the John Wayne Gacy's. Yeah. You know, a lot of these.
It is very reminiscent of Gacy.
A lot of, and that's one point I wanted to touch on is he does have he does have the reminiscent kind of look of John Wayne Gacy.
Pogo the clown.
Yeah, exactly. So I think this is going to be kind of not only a character evolution, but like we're going to see a physical evolution in his development. You know, to see. How did he get to the look we know and love? Yeah. You know,
because like much like every superhero, they always start out with their first costume, and as it just goes on, like they develop into something different.
Yeah,
they find the practicality.
Yeah, I mean you have the Spider-Man's original costume. You have Batman's original costume. You know, those kind of things that are very reminiscent of the evolution of a character.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to end this podcast with just a simple poll. What would we like the name of the film to be? I'm pretty sure we're going to have it settled on Joker, but I don't like that title. So what would you guys like to see it called?
This may sound weird, but because it's supposed to be like, a comedian, like that's how he's apparently been in the previous incarnations of Joker, I'm going to call it Open Mic.
Open Mic.
Open Mic.
Interesting. I like that.
Me, I like more of a I like more of a direct reference, but not necessarily like on the nose reference, like calling it the Joker. I would merely probably like again something akin to the Killing Joke, probably the curtain call or something like that. You know, some it's kind of like a you know his a curtain call down on his sanity or something.
I
like
have
that.
the title. You guys ready?
What's
Yes.
One Bad Day.
Ooh.
I like
One
that.
Bad
like that.
Day. It's a reference to the Killing Joke.
Yeah.
That's what he tells James Gordon. It's one of his most iconic lines, and it just says so much about the Joker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's what it's going to be in the film. It's got to be something that harkens back to the comics, that the fans know, that people who are watching the film, when they see the scene, they'll realize, oh, that's the title. When they go in, they'll be like, why is it called One Bad Day? When they see that bad day, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know, I just think that's better than just the Joker.
Yeah.
That's too much like Venom.
Yeah.
And I think we all have our reservations about that movie right now.
Yeah. Like for example, they didn't call Split the Horde. They just call it Split.
Split, exactly. So I think Joker's too on the nose, but I wouldn't be upset if they just called it Joker because we know what it is.
Yeah.
But I think Hollywood could do better than that. If you're putting all this effort into making this kind of film,
Yeah.
the title's got to be the most important thing.
Yeah.
The title's got to be haunting.
Yes. So with that said, I think it's safe to say we're all really excited about this movie coming out next year.
Just these little
Yeah.
snippets are enough to drive people crazy already.
I can say it now. This is my favorite casting of one of my favorite actors of all time. Joaquin Phoenix has always been a favorite actor of mine.
Before we conclude this, I just want to clarify real quick. He was in the running. Actually, he was the first pick for Doctor Strange.
Let's talk about how just a major bullet was dodged with that. So with that said, thanks for watching the L7 Squadcast. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube.
And thanks, guys, and be sure to follow us on Instagram as well. Do we have an Instagram page yet?
I don't think L7 does, but I do at jordan.marshall.utley. Do you have one?
Yes, I do. I just gotta remember the name of it. I'll post it. We'll put
It'll
it
be
right
down there
here.
somewhere. In that
We'll put it
area.
right here
Do
somewhere.
you got one, Andres?
Not yet, no. But
Any social media?
I do have Facebook, but it's more of a personal life. I have Facebook, so
If you know him, you got it. If you don't, sorry. But
Alright,
thanks
guys.
for watching. See you next time.
Look forward to the next one, guys. Take it easy.